Welcome to Health Data Talks, where industry experts offer bite-sized tips and trends for managing legacy data.
In our recent Health Data Talks episode on Harmony Healthcare IT's 20th anniversary, Chairman of the Board, Tom Liddell, shares reflections on the company's journey and how healthcare data management has evolved over time. One theme that came up and how it deserved its own spotlight was the changing role of the healthcare CIO. We wanted to pull this portion of the conversation out and share it on its own because Tom's perspective spans 2 decades of working alongside CIOs as their role has shifted from operational support to strategic leadership. Here's Tom's take on how that evolution happened and why the CIO role matters more than ever today. Tom, you've worked alongside healthcare CIOs since Harmony's earliest days. Take us back to what that role looked like 20 years ago and what CIOs were focused on then, the challenges they were facing, and how you've seen that role evolve into what it is today.
Fair question, fair thought. So my hair wasn't gray and all of that, and I was still a young whippersnapper. But if you think about it, just even the evolution of they'd often call it the data systems director or the computer coordinator for that, and often that role was tucked under finance, and so it might have been more in the 80s and 90s. Evolved that to where there would be a director of things like information systems that started to emerge, and again, most times it was tied into the financial side of the organization because I think it was largely thought of as cost. To an organization, not necessarily what it's evolved to today, which is strategy. So let's move that role out from under finance and let's call it a VP of technology or a vice president of information systems, and then evolve that to what's called a chief information officer today. So kind of parallels to that, I think when you talk about the market concept that we had, and when we sat down and talked to that director or that that burgeoning or early vice president of information systems, we largely were looked at as this, oh gosh, I've got all this baggage laying around, in buildings and cabinets and data centers. And yeah, it's okay that people are logging into 9 different things and having to remember passwords before security, really became a bigger thing that it is today. For that, and we moved to where we said we got to make a market and help people understand and build those concepts out. And we did that. We did that starting in 2010, 11, 12, to where it is today, which is, an understood, part of technology. When we think of the CIO today, I think it is one of the most critical roles executed well on behalf of the health system that could even conceptually exist. And I mean that, with most sincerity. They are the intersection of finance and compute and human interaction and aspiration and just conceptual things that they often might not have the answer to, or might not even be able to think it, or have a vision that they can bring people to that says, we are here today, and we are here today with these economics or these points of data, and it could take us to other places that evolve. Candidly, the care and the support that organizations need to do what is amazing technology. Right? It is genome to robotic equipment like a Da Vinci, down to pathology, over to blood science, or over to combinational therapies, all of which sits at the intersection of data and compute. Everything we do has compute and has that associated with it. Our lives are that. So that reflection of that CIO, that responsibility that they have, is enormous, and the great ones that continue to evolve today, my hat is off to them because they're extraordinary in their care for people, as well as in their ability to catalyze people to want to go and to aspire to do other great things.
That's it for this session of Health Data Talks. Check out helpful resources at harmonyhit.com and follow us in your favorite podcast app to catch future episodes. We'll see you next time.